Who will win the Game of Thrones? Let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm Chase.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to the Game of Thrones Season 8 episode of the Waystone podcast.
It's been a pretty crazy season so far. We have Cersei down in the south that's got a new army bought with stolen gold.
What a bitch.
Yeah, right? We have the Battle of Winterfell, which was completely epic and showed a lot of deaths. A lot
Oh my
of
god.
deaths.
Although I will say, not as many character deaths as I was expecting from
Really?
the Battle of Winterfell. Dude, I expected everybody to
expected
die.
everyone to
I thought
die?
we were going to have like 6 people left, man.
I can't remember. I was reading an article that actually said that hey man, literally the majority of the show is in one castle.
Yeah, that's why I thought, like, oh, we're going to lose a lot of people here. But overall, not too bad. Like, all things considered, it was still very bad. When they showed the pyres after the Battle of Winterfell, dude, it's like,
All
it's
the
like
bodies.
100 people, yeah, hundreds of people. Super crazy, man. But so the show, or Season 8 starts off, they're all in Winterfell, they're gathering the dragon glass, they've got Gendry leading men to make weapons, they are getting ready, and they are, like, just building up this massive battle. We get this beautiful scene where not only do we get a reconciliation between Tyrion and Jaime, you know, talking, having drinks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But then other people start coming in. You got Tormund.
Yeah.
Lady Brienne gets knighted. She gets knighted before the Battle of Winterfell.
Wow.
Very heartfelt moment, dude. When she started tearing up, I started tearing up. I was like, "You're so beautiful."
That's actually, yeah, dude. That is the crying moment. Okay, that is the crying moment. Also, Arya coming into her own and going back to Gendry working for the Red Keep down in the south and moving up to work for Winterfell in another armory was pretty cool.
Super cool.
He's definitely mastered his own trade at this.
Well, not only that, but it's sort of like prophecy fulfilled, because when Arya first ran into Gendry, she tells him to go to Winterfell. Like, she wants him to get to safety, so she tells him to go to Winterfell, and it took all this time to do it, but he's finally there. So they kind of get to reunite and have that moment.
That's true.
And have that moment.
Also have another moment.
Yeah.
A special moment.
Yeah,
shared between two people.
That wonderful moment. Good old Arya. She came on strong, dude. She knew.
I mean, she knows what she wants.
wanted. Yeah, exactly.
So.
But then the Battle of Winterfell happens, dude. Like, they're all lined up. They're ready to go. They can't even see the enemies off in the distance because it's so dark.
And they don't need torches.
Yeah, they don't.
Creepy.
Man, so the plan was to have they have Bran out hanging out by the tree with Theon as his guard. They have a couple other people, but mainly Theon. Theon is the guy to protect Bran. They have sent anyone who cannot fight down into the crypt.
True.
Definitely
even
not.
important characters, and they come to grips with that too.
Yeah.
They kind of give that attitude where they're also alive, so every single person alive should help physically, and they're taught really quick that some people fight and some people think.
Yeah. But it's like the whole time they're like, oh, it'll be safer down in the crypt, and they keep saying this word crypt. And I was like, that's where they keep
Trigger word.
This is not a safe place for you. What were you thinking? They can raise the dead. But obviously, you know, everybody knew what was going to happen. That was very, very obvious foreshadowing on their part.
How many times have they said, all of the Starks and everyone in Winterfell are buried here? They've said it dozens of times in the show.
Man, but they just, like, literally the phrase, it's safest down in the crypt, it was said so many times. I'm just like, you guys are fucking, you're going to kill everyone down there. You're so cruel. But so they send everybody down there, the main characters. You've got Varys, you've got Tyrion, Sansa is down there.
Yep.
Am I missing anybody?
All the common folk of Winterfell at that point, yeah.
Missandei is down there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So Grey Worm's lady is down there in the crypts as well. Obviously, that goes south very quickly. You know, skeletons start popping out of the ground and shit, and everybody starts freaking out. Yep. But meanwhile, up top, you know, we've got the Unsullied just straight up defending the line as everybody retreats as these armies come in. Yeah, but slowly is good. Like,
no, because of them protecting the retreat, saved hundreds of people.
Yeah, I mean, but not only that, but the fact that like you said, they did die slowly versus this horde, this mass of like zombies, basically. is like, wow, they're really good. Like, you knew they were good fighters.
Yeah.
That's literally what they're trained for. But when you see it, you're like, they're really good fighters. Like, they should have been overrun instantly. But it was just so cool. And then, yeah, dude, everybody retreats, and then the trenches, dude, that caught me off guard. I thought that was so cool. Because they make sure to like show you the spikes as they're putting it together. You know, you see them shoving the wood into the ground. And then also, like, even though I knew that it was a medieval tactic, I forgot about the drawbridge spikes. So once everybody was through, dude, they lifted that up as well.
Oh yeah, that was sick.
So
I loved that. In fact, when they did, they were doing all the character development around the fortifications of the castle as it was slowly building. Was really cool on the director's side. I like that a lot.
Agreed.
So we all know what happens at the end of the battle. Arya promises and being an assassin, and she kills the Night King.
Dude, the dagger swap. She was just like,
and he saw it. He was like, "Oop."
Man. So yeah, he was. If he could, like, if he talked, he would just be like, "Fuck." Oh my god, dude.
I also, a really cool point in that battle is the dragon. When Jon is running around, I actually had to go back and watch that scene because a lot of people were commenting on it and what was going on. He wasn't not only sacrificing himself, but if you go back, he's screaming, "Go, go, go," because he's actually using himself as a victim for the dragon to pay attention to, so Arya can escape through where the tree is, past the whites. Because the very next scene is her running past the white and that hair moving past his face.
Yeah.
So Jon ultimately almost sacrifices himself to the dragon.
Dude, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
What? Oh my god. But yeah, Jon, so a lot of people were talking about, like, oh, you know, Jon didn't do a lot in the battle. He should have been one to kill the Night King. But honestly, I think Jon did what he should have done. All these people who think he's the king of the North, like, he's commanding the battle. He's literally like making sure that parts are moving. Yeah, I think he played his role very well. He's not a you know, he's not supposed to be one of these warriors out on the front lines because, you know, same thing with Daenerys. Like, these, you know, people are calling him king, calling her queen. Like, yeah, they're leaders. They're not. Cersei's not going to get out there and fight. I don't get why people expected for Jon to be like out there bravehearting this shit.
Because
dude.
he I guess because he delivers on what a hero is.
Yeah.
Everything but that when it comes to.
But so we've seen in the past as well in Game of Thrones, like, the war heroes generally, like, they have their moments, they become these war heroes, and then they sort of sit on the side. You hear about the stories with Robert Baratheon, this large wine-loving man who doesn't do fucking anything except hunt boars. But you hear these tales of him on the battlefield and how he was this.
He led a rebellion.
Yeah, dude, he was this incredible fighter. But that was in the past. His time is over. You know, same thing for Ned. You know, Ned is this supposedly incredible fighter. He's done all these things, but now he's using more of his wisdom. He leads others. That's what he does. So I think Jon has sort of stepped into that role, and I feel like people don't give that enough credit. Like, they're really down on the fact that Jon didn't go out and kill the Night King. But on the other side of that coin, we talked about this a little bit before, dude. Like, Arya's a badass. She's been meant for this moment the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally been training since the first season.
Yeah, dude, the entire show.
Yeah, the entire show. Yeah, I mean, this is what she's meant to be. At this point, we have the cream of the crop when it comes to the hero, and the strong side characters. Everyone else alive are just common folk.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone else is dead.
Yeah, they're just peasants. They're literally the people that feed the people who are making the show move forward. But yeah, dude, just to go over a little bit real quick of, like, because you mentioned that Arya's been training since season 1. So season 1, she is in King's Landing when she sees Ned Stark get beheaded. She leaves. She straight up just dips out of town. And at some point she gets captured, becomes a prisoner, and I'm sure my timeline is a little off, guys. I apologize. I'm not doing these chronologically. These are just things that happen. She gets captured, and she isn't recognized by Tywin Lannister. Becomes Tywin Lannister's, like, assistant. She pours his wine. She talks to him. She sort of gets this, like, political mindset. She starts to, you know, think the way that these people that she hates think. So she kind of learns how to be in their thought process instead of her own. She eventually gets away, and not only does she escape, but she frees Jock in her car, the faceless man.
Yes.
So literally, as he's leaving, you see him change his face, and he gives her
the coin.
Yeah,
yeah. He gives her
Isn't
the
that
coin.
also when he says you can name so many people and all give a
I
man
think
a name?
I think that might
Or
come
is that what she
later.
was thinking?
Yeah, he says as long as you go to Bravos and you present this coin, you'll be able to get into it.
Yeah,
And then he meets her, I think, later on, and that's when he's like, all right, here's this hit list. And that's her second escape. And I think that's when she heads to Bravos.
Yeah, dude. And
right after that.
So when she gets to Bravo, she goes to the House of Black and White, literally sits outside for days because she refuses to leave. And finally they take her in and they start training her. And the whole time you kind of see where she's doing well, but she's not doing well enough because they want her to let go of who she was in her past.
Yeah.
She refuses. She will not do it. So they try to get her to kill somebody, but on the way to killing that person, she sees somebody who's on her personal list. She kills that person instead. She gets punished. They take away her eyesight.
Yes.
That's one thing I forgot. I actually watched recaps before.
You forgot,
Yeah, I forgot she
goes
went blind. So literally, she is in the streets begging.
Yeah.
At one point in the show, and then she's given another chance. So with this second chance, she's told to go kill. If you remember, it's the actress who plays Cersei, in the play about King Joffrey. You remember that?
No, I don't.
So yeah.
No, that was a good scene.
So there's a play about King Joffrey, and I want to say it's about how he dies, right? That's how she learns about Joffrey's death.
Yeah, I think it's a joke. It's like a joke.
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
So,
Basically,
making fun of him,
he's the baby king, and he acts like a child. And when he dies, everyone rejoices. At least from what I remember. But basically, she's supposed to kill this woman, but she finds out the woman is super nice. She's nothing like this character that she portrays. So again, she turns, and instead of killing the actress, she kills the female who's in the House of Black and White. I can't remember her name.
The one that's scrubbing the floors.
Yeah, the one who's constantly giving her shit and beating her and belittling her.
Mm-hmm.
She kills her and she puts her face up on the wall instead.
Yeah.
And then when Jaqen finds it, she leaves. She's out.
Right.
At this point, she's had not only does she have a political mindset, but she's also now a trained assassin.
Yeah, she's a trained assassin at this point.
On top of the water dancing teaching that she got from the Bravosi dance master in season 1.
And she can change her face.
Yeah, so she uses that to kill Walder Frey.
Which is an amazing scene.
Thank
Holy
God.
shit, poisons everyone.
Fuck Walder Frey. Straight slits his throat. And then you also see her go back and meet up with Sansa.
Yep.
And sort of plays on this whole sibling rivalry thing to get Littlefinger to slip. And then they confront him and she straight slit. Literally, watching the replay, dude, I was so blown away by how Carol she doesn't think a thing about it. Literally walks up, hand on the sword, pulls it out, slits his throat, and turns around and puts it back and walks away. The whole thing took 5 seconds. And there's no remorse.
So good though. I honestly didn't even see him getting killed in that room. The escalation, they bring him into the room, they're talking and stuff. You think they're talking, and then it turns into a tense moment.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
Well, so when they start, if I remember right, you think that they're talking about Arya, because she's talking about how someone has betrayed her and belittled her, and how that person needs to be put to justice. And Arya's standing in the middle of the room. Yeah, and you think it's her. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the room, not just Arya and Sansa, but everyone in the room is looking right at Littlefinger. And then he realizes, wow, I'm fucked.
He's fucked, yeah.
And he starts begging. Mm-hmm. And it's just such an incredible scene. But, it's a very long-winded, roundabout way of saying, Arya has earned this kill. She deserves this kill.
Yeah, totally.
I know that there was a lot of negative feedback from that, but everything that she's done points to this moment. She's the only person to be able to do it.
She's and going in deeper, she's related to the first of the men, just like Jon, just like the Night King. The Night King and the first of the men are related. They're the same blood. So is Arya. So it's it's very poetic for someone down his line to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah.
She also murdered him with a Valerian dagger, the Valerian dagger that was supposed to kill her brother. So there's a lot of poetic justice that goes into killing the Night King. So don't bump on Arya too hard.
Yeah.
She's a good character.
I mean, and so not only that, but we've seen the Night King fight previously. This guy's quick. Literally, he dodges people at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's making these deliberate movements to avoid swords. He literally waits till the last second, just gets out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing he did with Theon.
Yeah.
He cut Theon down with almost no movement whatsoever. It took nothing for him. And Theon's not like this master fighter, but he's not weak by any means. Like, we've seen Theon hold his own. And it just kind of goes to show, like, it had to be Arya. Nobody else was going to be able to do it. Exactly. Jon wasn't going to sneak up on him, and Jon sure as fuck wasn't going to beat him in a one-on-one battle. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Hate to break it to you, Game of Thrones fanboys.
And also, the Night King has had dozens of chances to kill Jon, if you've noticed. He's actually kind of creeped on him more than anything. And even when the Battle of Winterfell, when Jon is running towards the Night King doesn't make any moves towards killing Jon. He just shows yet again Jon his power and what he can do, and the inevitable to go after Bronn.
Yeah,
I really think also it's because, and I listened to an interview from the actor that played the Night King after they killed him off, and he said that he personally, and from his scripts, he believes that the Night King never killed Jon because they're related.
That would be awesome. It kind of sucks that we'll never like get a real answer.
Yeah,
for that.
No, it's
Night
so
King's
it's
gone.
vague. It's all
Jon's not gonna bring it up, like, and Bran's not gonna be like, "Hey, Jon, just so you knew, the Night King didn't kill you because you guys are related. He was super big in a family." Yeah, like Bran's not gonna bring that up. And speaking of which, shoot, I do wanna mention.
Speaking of Bran,
yeah, because Erin actually told me about this. Erin, for you guys that don't know, Erin is my wife. She's also a big Game of Thrones fan. But she was telling me that the actor who plays Bran did an interview, and they asked him, like, how do you get this distant look in your eyes when you're doing these scenes? And the answer is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. When she told me, I died, dude. But basically, Bran says, I'm a real person. I wear glasses. I refuse to wear contacts. In these scenes, I literally can't see. So these far off looks that he has, dude, it's literally him trying to see what's going on in the scenes. Yeah, dude. It's him trying to make his shitty eyes work. And that's why he has these perfect, like...
He does look like he's constantly staring into space.
He looks like his body is there, but he's not yet.
Yeah, totally.
But to find out the reasoning why behind it, dude, I just thought it was super funny. Just wanted to make that known for those of you guys that didn't know. I thought that was hysterical, dude. So, the Battle of Winterfell is over.
Yeah.
And then we see sort of a conflict between Jon Snow and Dany and Arya and Sansa.
Yeah, and this comes down to family. The sad part is Jon's related to both.
Yeah. Jon's like, but you're all my family. And no one wants to hear that shit. Not a single person is on his side. But we get them around the table, and Dany is trying to move immediately. Like, she wants no rest. She wants to go. She wants to take out Cersei. And she makes it sound like it's going to be this easy feat. In her mind, Cersei is basically alone. Like, it's just her and this weak-ass army that can't do anything. And she wants to move. But then Sansa brings up the point, like, we have all these soldiers, but they're all hurt, they're all tired.
We gotta rest.
They're all hungry. Yeah, we need rest. Give us, a couple of weeks, and we can move and make an actual coordinated effort. And she's not hearing it. And Jon, unfortunately,
has to agree with her.
Sides with fucking Daenerys.
I know, man. And it's because that meeting in the room right before where she's like, oh, well, just don't tell anyone. Dude,
and that was, Jon is like, they do a very good job of making it known that Jon is the guy who should be king.
Yeah. He is the relation between both of the main houses that make up Westeros. Period. I mean, you have all these other families, but the Northern men and the Targaryens that moved in 300 or 400 years ago basically have ruled this continent.
Yeah. But like, so even like heritage aside, like Jon is, he has this perfect moral compass. Like Jon just wants what's best for everybody.
Okay, yeah, past lineage, like his body, sound,
yeah,
and mind
the
kind of
things
thing.
that he does, like they all say, hey, this guy would be an actual great ruler.
Yeah.
So when Daenerys confronts him in the room and she's like, hey, they're if you tell them, they're all gonna say that you will be king, and even though he tells her, hey, I don't want this, she says the same thing that Varys and Tyrion and all of them say afterward. When they find out
that it doesn't matter what you want.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
That he's going to become king if that gets out.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, let me tell my family, I'll swear them to secrecy, and she will not have it. So she tells him flat out, the only way that this can work, the only way that we can be happy, is if you swear not to tell anyone.
Which is, that's not going to happen.
It didn't happen.
Within minutes!
Yeah. Literally the first chance he gets away from Dany, after they have the round table discussion where he agrees with her, they all meet up.
The family Starks. The last of the Starks. Sadly. 4 of them.
And he looks at Bran. Bran looks back and says, it's up to you. And he tells them. Or he has Bran tell them.
Yeah, he has Bran tell them. Which is more suiting.
Yes, because if he said it, it could... They're convinced that Daenerys has brainwashed him. So if he said it, I don't think it would come across as well.
Right.
But having Bran say it, they know that Bran isn't Bran anymore.
Yeah, no, he's a wizard at this point.
Yeah, he's the all-knowing Oz. He sits behind a curtain and has a giant projection of his face. But yeah, so when he tells them, like, he swears them to secrecy before he tells them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Sansa, having her Littlefinger training, goes off and tells her little birds.
Because she's looking after her family. Her family. Which is only 4 of them, like I said.
I will give her credit for this, though. It is very cool that she still considers Jon to be part of her family, even though she knows now that he is a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Because despite blood or whatever, like, you have this time invested. They grew up with Jon. Even when Jon was a bastard, Jon was still their brother. They still called him their brother.
Do you think that's like why Theon is... The whole story with Theon is beautiful because she also considered Theon a Stark?
Theon is definitely... Dude, she
put the pin.
We forgot to mention that, yeah. When Theon dies, she puts the pin in his... That's another moment, dude, where I was like, very... Someone was cutting onions in the room and being a real dick about it. And I don't get it, dude. It's rude. I'm trying to watch Game of Thrones, and all of a sudden I can't see because there's tears in my eyes. It's fucked up. But yeah, dude, so I do think that Theon definitely counts. And Theon's story is even cooler to me because Theon was not always that way. I think the thing that led Theon to try to overtake Winterfell is because Theon wanted so badly to feel like a member of something. Yeah. And I don't think initially he didn't feel like a Stark. It was almost like he was a well taken care of slave almost. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think Ned and Catelyn treated him badly, but it was never like
there wasn't love. It was business.
Yeah,
it was all business.
So when he finally had his chance, he was like, "Oh, here's how I'll get the attention of my family. I'll get the love and admiration for my family. I'll take over Winterfell." That doesn't work for him either.
No, because the Greyjoys don't know what love means.
But after he has his dick cut off by the hands of Ramsay Bolton, and he sees what he's doing, what Ramsay is doing to Sansa, he actually helps Sansa escape. And at that point, like, I think that's when that bond really does connect. And I don't think that bond even exists for the rest of the Starks. I don't think Jon feels that way about Theon. I don't think Bran feels that way about Theon.
No, it's totally...
But it is 100% Sansa, and it's enough for him to be family. Mm-hmm. And I think that's super poetic. Like, honestly, dude, if Theon didn't die, I was really hoping that, like, him and Sansa became a thing.
I mean, I could have definitely seen that. Just like I could have seen her and Tyrion being a thing, like a really good business.
That would definitely
couple.
There would be a political wedding for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Theon is more like saving the princess from the castle.
Yeah, because dude, when he comes back and he's like, "Oh, I came back to fight for the Starks," I think that's right when she decided that you're part of this family.
Yeah, and they asked, like, he's betrayed us before. Do you trust him? And she was like, "Yes, hell yes, I do." And I thought that was really incredible, man. So, fuck, where were we? So he tells them.
So he tells them, yeah.
Jon tells them, or he has Bran tell them, And then the next thing that we see is everybody's getting ready to start moving south.
Yes, and they split up into different factions to get there. One, Jon is going down the King's Road to the south with the Northmen, and Daenerys and the Unsullied fleet are coming around.
Yes, they're
the sea?
they're sailing around the. I believe it's the if you're
East
looking at a
side
map,
of
it's on the
Westeros.
east side. Yeah. And while flying, Daenerys, which hold on, another thing. So they mention that Jon is not going with Dany because Rhaegal, is that the dragon's name? Rhaegal? Or Rhaegon? Or
Rhaegal or Rhaegon?
So
it's close to Rhaegar.
Exactly. The other dragon
dragon
is injured and tired. So Jon doesn't want to weigh it down anymore, so it's flying solo. Foreshadowing.
Guess what's about to happen.
Yeah. So Dany is flying super low, which I know a lot of people on the internet didn't agree with either. A lot of people were like,
well, she's one of the first Targaryens to fly her dragons under the clouds.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people were like, they should have been. She should have moved at night, and she should have moved above the clouds.
Which shows that they're inadequate in training. It shows that she's young and they're young.
Not only I was going to say not only them, but her also. She doesn't. There haven't been dragons for so long. She doesn't know how to train dragons. This isn't a fucking DreamWorks movie. Unfortunately, the Golden Fleet is waiting for them. They have the siege weapons, which during the recap today I realized which makes it make a little more sense because we were talking before
when the
about
Greyjoy fleet is sitting around when the dragon comes around the corner.
Yes, so the siege weapons that they have, the giant like harpoons that they use to kill the dragon, they've actually been used before because they were created by Cersei's hand.
It's not Quagmire.
No.
Quaimir, anyways, the necromancer that works as this hand. And a lot of people were they were mad about the dragons being brought down so easily. And there are a lot of variables to this, like we were saying, we're mentioning these variables as we go along. But this is another one. He makes an inadequate weapon and has to go back to the drawing board to make an even better one.
Yeah. So people were like, how are they going to take down this dragon with 3 bolts like this? Which, while looking through recaps and stuff, they've used it before. When Daenerys shows up to start taking out the Lannister army, when she shows up on the dragon, she's just literally burning all these men alive.
When they steal Highgarden's gold. And they're moving it back? Yeah.
So literally, while they're doing this, they have the ballistas there, and Bronn jumps on one and shoots the dragon, and it doesn't even hit a fatal shot, but it hits it like right in the side, next to the wing, and it does bring the dragon down. The dragon doesn't die, but it is enough to bring it down. So that alone, if this dragon can even if the dragon didn't die, the fact that it can no longer fly and they're over the ocean, it's gonna drown. It's dead.
Yeah.
It's not getting back up.
Yeah.
Dragons can't float, they can't swim. That's just not cool. That's not dragon stuff. So, like, having done a little research, it makes more sense that would take down the dragon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it was already injured.
Yeah.
I mean, this dragon literally, its left wing was almost blown apart. If you remember, it had a huge gaping hole in its wing. Yeah. It can barely fly. And that's probably one of the only reasons why it was brought down. Now, the first dragon that was brought down by a magical creature and a magical weapon.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
Sorry. You're not going to escape the Night King just because you're a dragon.
Yeah.
He's a badass too, in case you didn't know. But yeah, man, so that and the fact that the last one went through its fucking neck.
Yeah. It took 3 of them.
Yeah. Literally the third one is what grounded it. And again, even if he could have survived otherwise, if they'd have pulled him out, whatever, they're over the ocean. He drowned. Even if you refuse to accept that he died from the actual spears, arrows, whatever you want to call them, hitting him, he drowned in the ocean. He's not getting out. So then you have Daenerys charge at them with her dragon. And I really thought, wow, she's going to take the fleet.
I did too. I was like, holy shit, it's going to happen. But then she pulled away she doesn't want that dragon to die.
Yeah, it's her. Not only does she have an emotional attachment to this, but that's the last dragon.
Yeah.
So as like a strategy, you have to try to protect this dragon a little bit, which we see a little bit later when they actually like march up to King's Landing.
Yeah, and it's like way in the back.
Way in the back, yeah. Well out of range of even like regular arrows. They're not messing around. But so the Golden Fleet, while they're over the ocean, turns all of their arrows now to the ships. And dude, the damage that it did to the ships.
That was crazy. That was crazy. It took maybe like 2 bolts to destroy one ship. And the bolts went through 3 or 4 ships at a time.
Yeah, multiple. And they're leaving these giant holes, dude. Like, the first thing I thought when I saw that is, like, this would be a nightmare in Sea of Thieves. Like,
yeah, that's terrifying.
Oh,
dude.
man. It was ripping off rails. Tyrion almost got taken out multiple. I honestly thought that was where we were going to see the death of Tyrion.
Tyrion has almost died a dozen times.
Yeah, you're right. But there was just so many close calls. I was like, they wouldn't hint at this if he was not going to die. Like, he's going to think he's safe, and one's just going to go through him. So I honestly expected, like, when he jumps off the boat, I thought we were going to see him just get nailed as he was jumping off the boat.
That would have sucked.
But I'm glad we didn't. He's a great character, and we need him around still.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so, after that, that's when we see Dany and the few Unsullied that are left.
They're on Dragonstone now.
And Missandei is missing.
Yep.
She's not there.
JON.
So, one thing that somebody pointed out to me on Twitter is, so where they crashed, where the boats were destroyed, was not far from where they left. They did not get very far before that attack happened. But then all of a sudden they're in King's Landing, which they've already said is 1,000 miles away. They said it was going to take 2 weeks for JON and his men to get there. So, from that, it is safely assumed that they have lapsed time. They've jumped ahead without saying anything.
So this goes back to the Battle of Winterfell. I noticed a couple of people were questioning why there was so many ballistas. There's like dozens of ballistas all around King's Landing now. It's because during the preparation of Winterfell, that was months. Like it took months to prepare for that kind of stuff. So yes, time is definitely speeding by at accelerated rate. They're basically giving you the end of the show with this.
Yeah, but they kind of have to because they don't have much left. So if they were trying to do it, like day by day, you expect all of this to happen over like a week's time essentially. Like it just can't happen. So they get there. Both hands meet up. Tyrion is talking to the necromancer, and Tyrion basically says, hey, this is our last chance to make something happen, to make sure that there's no bloodshed. We can see this out, but you have to get Cersei to surrender. Necromancer straight up refuses, says Cersei wants Daenerys to surrender, and essentially that if Daenerys doesn't surrender, Missandei dies right then.
Yeah, and I think Tyrion knew that Missandei was going to die anyway. Yeah. I really did, which is why he walked past the hand to talk to his sister. Which, how do you feel about? How do you think the queen, the Dragon Queen, felt about him walking past the hand to talk to her?
So I think it's one of the few times that we see Tyrion not be a yes man for Daenerys.
Okay. Yeah, so I can totally agree with that.
It's one of those times you can tell that she didn't like it because it was him taking a risk, and he's only ever done it one other time, and it didn't work out well for him, and she scolded him for it, and basically told him, if you do this again, I'll give it to someone else.
Yeah, true.
So I thought it was a very big moment for Tyrion because not only does he fear Daenerys, but he also fears Cersei. Cersei's made it very clear she wants him dead.
So did Jaime. Jaime has, even though being as far up north as Winterfell, still was kind of terrified of his sister when he was leaving. Yeah. You could tell that he didn't want to leave. He was almost leaving out of course, addiction because he's got issues, but also fear. Yeah.
But so when he walks up to talk to her, I think he knows he's taking a risk, but it was sort of a last-ditch effort to sort of sway her with this child. And to be totally honest, dude, I thought when he brought up the child that the leader of the Golden Fleet, what is his name? Remember?
Okay, remember that the Golden Fleet is a little different from the Greyjoys. The Greyjoys have their own fleet, and the Golden Fleet is from Essos. They're like a mercenary group that was fought by. So there's actually 2 separate fleets.
But the Greyjoy guy is leading the Golden
Yes,
Fleet, right?
yes.
What's his name?
I don't know, shitbag.
Okay, yeah. So
sorry, I'm not a big Greyjoy fan.
Yeah, so but he's standing there with them, and when Tyrion brings up the baby, my first thought is he should put 2 and 2 together. Because she just told him that she was pregnant and made it sound she's trying to put this baby that's clearly Jaime's off on this Greyjoy. And then all of a sudden Tyrion already knows about it. Like, he should have put 2 and 2 together and been like, hey, how does your brother, who you hate and who you've not talked to in a long time,
already
know
about
you're
it.
pregnant?
Yeah, and he mentioned that maybe days before. That he said, hey, I'm gonna put a baby in your belly, and then it happens. Then they go to the fleet. Yeah, so it's been
So they slept together.
Weeks, maybe.
Yeah, they slept together right before the battle. But he knows that she has had no contact with Tyrion, so all of a sudden Tyrion knows that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
That should have raised a huge red flag for him, and I'm really surprised that it didn't. Because as soon as he said that, I was like, shit's about to get real. Like, he's about to call her out and be like, how does he know?
Yeah.
And at that point, I really thought that was going to be a big turning point, because all of a sudden Cersei does not have his backing. Cersei doesn't have his ships. And that's literally the technology that is, like, taking out these dragons. All of a sudden, she wouldn't have it anymore.
That's very true, yeah. She needs the backing of these guys, because she really doesn't have anyone. Lannisters are kind of falling apart at this point. I kind of want to also bring out a little Easter egg. When Cersei was young, she went to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller did tell her that she would only have 3 kids. That's it. And she's already had those 3.
Yeah, and the fortune teller also said that she would lose all 3. So that part's already come true. So at this point, it is kind of strange that she would be pregnant again. Like, so I've seen rumors where people think that Cersei's baby is the what is it? The prince who was promised?
Damn, dude, but that's Jon though, right? That's Jon though, right?
Is it though?
Half Stark, half Targaryen. I don't know.
Is it though, dude?
I don't think she's gonna make this baby. I think it's gonna be some red wedding style. I think her and the baby are gonna get killed.
So here's another thing. Since we're talking about it, here's another thing that was brought up by someone that I think is a really good, like, fan crafted theory. So Daenerys and the Unsullied crashed far away, basically to the point that they would take them about 2 weeks to get there. Arya and the Hound also left on their own, so they don't have other people slowing them down. They're probably not going to stop and rest as much as other people. So a lot of people think that by the time Daenerys and the Unsullied get there, that Arya and the Hound are already inside the city.
Shit!
Yeah, dude. They think they're already inside the city. So if that's the case, dude, Cersei has moved everybody into the keep. If Arya is inside the keep with them, dude, that would be such a game changer.
And she can change faces.
She can change her face.
Dude, there's so many levels to this.
It's like, when I read that, dude, I got goosebumps. I was like, oh, I hope so. Like, oh, I hope.
That'd be great.
But so that's where we're at as far as season 8 so far, dude. Favorite character still alive?
Favorite character still alive is definitely Brienne of Tarth.
Dude, her story has been so heartbreaking. Like, she has had so much happiness in the first couple episodes, like becoming a knight, and then, you know, she's finally, like, this obvious, like, love that her and Jaime have for each other. It's always been unspoken. It's finally spoken. Like, they've talked about it, they acted on it, and all of a sudden, like, she thinks she has her happily ever after.
Yeah, because she's never really been loved before. Remember, her nickname used to be the Beautiful because of how ugly she was.
Yeah.
Everyone used to make fun of her.
But, like, yeah, man, and she's literally the most loyal person on the show. Like,
yeah, so the reason why I like her so much is because, first off, she's been the first Knight of the Seven Kingdoms in hundreds of years. Okay? She's related to Sir Duncan the Tall, which, for people out there that don't know who Duncan the Tall is, he actually trained Aegon, which is the father of Rhaegar, which is the father of Jon.
Wow.
Yeah. So it comes full circle with families like that, man. And he was an amazing knight, and it's really cool that Brienne grows up her two brothers and her three brothers all die. She's the only one of her house and her lineage, and she's carrying all this weight of this great knightlyhood, and she still comes out the same as her forefather.
Yeah,
a great knight.
She is an incredible character, very well done and very well played by Gwendolyn Christie. Like, she does an incredible job. Honestly, dude, I'm probably gonna have to say Brienne as well. Like, she's such a badass, dude. She always does what she swears she's gonna do, to the point that Jaime gave her the Oathkeeper sword before he sent her off with Podrick, because even Jaime, this man who has always shown that he has a good side, but has done some very terrible things in the name of his family, and trying to keep secrets from coming out. But even he met her, and not only was he made better by her, but he realizes this is the best person that I've ever met, and I think that's where his attraction for Brienne comes from.
That's true.
It's not from her physical appearance, but he realizes that there's so much more to her than anyone else that he's ever met.
Right.
Because everybody else he's ever met is pretty much scum, to be totally honest. He hangs out with some shady folk because his family hangs out with shady folk. But yeah, dude, Brienne brings a lot to the table. She's the reason that all these people that are in Winterfell are in Winterfell. Arya would not have made it there without her. Sansa would have been totally screwed over without her. Yeah, Jaime. The reason that Jaime's only missing a hand and not his head,
yeah, that's true.
But she does so much good for these people, and she's still just giving so much. So to see her finally get a little bit back was the ultimate fulfillment.
Exactly.
It was incredible, dude.
So what's your favorite dead character?
Oh shit. So I'm gonna have to go with with Littlefinger, honestly.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because he made so many parts move while he was still alive.
Chaos is a ladder, man.
And not only that, but he's left such a lasting impression on Sansa that Sansa can be the character she is now. Whereas I don't think any other issues that Sansa had, Joffrey didn't affect her like that. Being with Tyrion, she didn't like it, but it didn't negatively affect her in that way. It didn't change her really. Ramsay is probably the only other person that gets close, and Ramsay's gross. I'm never gonna say Ramsay's my favorite dead
all
character.
The Boltons, dude.
Yeah, fuck Ramsay 100%. All the Boltons and Freys can just fuck them all. But yeah, so Littlefinger, he did a lot. He's also the reason Joffrey's dead, so we don't have to put up with that prick.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know, man. He just secretly, I always thought he was going to be the guy to win Game of Thrones until he died.
I mean, that was his ultimate goal.
Man.
And really his ultimate demise in the end. He got caught.
But I don't know, man. It's just so cool to see him, because he came from
He's a good
nothing.
bad guy.
He's a perfect bad guy.
Yeah.
He came from nothing, and all of a sudden he's so I once likened him to a story that was really big. This was probably a decade ago now, but there was a guy who started out with I think it was something small, like a paperclip or a candle or something, and he went on Craigslist and he traded that for something better, and they kept trading, and eventually he ended up with a house. This guy literally only did trades on Craigslist and eventually ended up with a house. But that's kind of Littlefinger in a nutshell. This is a guy who started with something so small and has just talked his way into more and more and bigger things. I don't know, man. There's not many characters in any story.
It's true. There's not a character really like him. And in fact, a little bit about Littlefinger. Everyone calls him Littlefinger. What was his real name?
No idea.
So a lot of fans believe that. Remember the story about him getting cut from stomach, chest when he was a kid. A lot of people think that Littlefinger, the guy that took over Littlefinger, was this kid dies. Littlefinger takes over the identity of this individual and continues to grow up.
Wow.
So there's a lot of fan theory out there that Littlefinger, his true name, the actual person died, and Littlefinger that's alive actually took over his identity.
Man, that's great. Do you ever see him without his shirt so you can see if he has a scar?
You don't.
Oh,
it never
man.
shows it.
That's a tease.
It never shows
Game of Thrones. Jesus Christ, dude. What about you, man?
Favorite character is probably Jorah Mormont. I like the Mormonts, period.
They're cool. They have a really
really
good story.
let's make my favorite dead characters the Mormonts, because between the Mormont being the Night Watch commander, Mormont being knighted by Robert Baratheon, and then knighted again by Queen Daenerys, and then the Mormont, Lady Mormont, which was really the only reason why there was any Northmen at the Battle of Winterfell, was because of her. Which is also kudos to Jon burning her pyre at the end. Because, dude, without her, he wouldn't have had half the army. So,
no. And
that would probably have to be my favorite. I really like them. They're very hardy individuals. And their house motto is "Here we stand." And if you've noticed from every Mormont character, they pick a principle that they live behind, and they literally do it until they're dead. Yeah. She said she was going to protect the North. She did it until she was dead. Yara Mormont protected the Queen until he was dead, and his father was the Night Watch commander, and he died on the job. So they really live by their family motto.
Yeah. That's a good call, man. And they're also incredibly loyal people. Like, Jorah does have the moment where, Daenerys finds out he was sent as a spy, but like, he redeems himself, and he's so like insanely, even while doing all this, he's so insanely loyal to her, while she is in, what is it, Karth? The city of riches?
The slave city?
So Karth, if I'm not mistaken, is the city where like, it's got all the really rich men. I mean, they do use a lot of slaves, but they're like really wealthy men that live in. Yeah. But he gives Daenerys a bit of advice, which I don't remember exactly what he says, but basically it was like, you are free to choose your own path. Don't go back to, or don't sell yourself back to another, or don't have another owner. Because if you remember, the one of the rich guys there propositions her like, hey, I'll fund your entire expedition, but you have to marry me. Yeah. And Jorah's basically like, you don't want to be married. Your whole thing is being free, and you want to do this on your own. Right. Don't settle in for this guy. And it ultimately like sets her course. So I don't know, man. Despite being a spy, he's still like insanely loyal to Daenerys, and then is to the very end. He thinks he's gonna die, so he like leaves her.
Dude, he gains grayscale, the only known man alive to not die,
to survive.
From it. Yeah,
but that's because of good old Sam Tarly.
Yeah, that's true. That's because the Tullys.
Yeah, freaking ridiculous, man. All right. So we had on here on our little timeline the issues that people have had with the show so far. But I think we've kind of covered a lot of that. The only thing we haven't talked about as far as like issues is the infamous Starbucks cup.
Okay, all right, the Starbucks cup.
So in the last episode, which was episode 4, season 8, episode 4,
the last of the Starks. Yeah.
So during that episode, they are having a feast in Winterfell, and everybody's celebrating, and it is the scene where Jon is sitting on the end of a table, and Tormund is talking about how great of a king he is. You can see Daenerys is very uncomfortable with the conversation, but what you may not have seen was the fact that right next to Daenerys, facing outward, was a Starbucks cup with a nice white lid and the perfect Starbucks logo just hanging out right there. I gotta be honest, I didn't see it. I didn't
notice it. I had to go back and watch it. So, and I get it. If your eye catches it and it bothers you, it bothers you. But understand this: it's a 10-year-old show. It's won over 50 awards. They're allowed to make a mistake sometimes. And the grip that was on the set did say that the mistake was not the coffee. She actually ordered hot tea.
Wow. Okay. Jesus, that's ridiculous.
That was his reply.
But yeah, so I think I don't really know anybody that was mad about it, but people were making, there's tons of memes out about it now.
No, they're funny, but it's not product placement, and it was not intentional. It was a mistake, and they did own it.
Yeah, they're not gonna if they want to do product placement, there's stuff that could fit in easier, a lot easier. But like, there's not McDonald's bags just sitting around in other episodes. It's clearly a mistake. Let's move on. It's done. I will say though, one of my favorite Twitter comments, and I've since seen a meme made of it, but one of the Twitter comments was like, that barista didn't get that bitch's name right. Like, Oh man. But yeah, so lot of fun, a nice little way to take a jab at Game of Thrones, which is otherwise an excellent show that doesn't do any of that crap.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's be honest, it's still one of the best shows out there. So, and we actually have, it looks like, some mailbag questions.
Mailbag questions.
Mailbag.
This is the first episode of Mailbag Questions, guys. If you have questions for us, it doesn't have to be regarding what we're talking about that week, but it can be. You can either comment those or tweet at us at Waystone Podcast, and you can hear your questions read out on the podcast.
Okay, so first question: will Daenerys become her father? The first question.
Oh God, she already is. I mean, she's crazy. She has lost her mind. I think you really start to see it when they try to talk sense into her in that the war room where they're telling her that everyone needs to rest. And I think ultimately she's paid for it a little bit, but it's still very much there. And at the end of the last episode, when Miss Sanday's head gets cut off, you see it in her face, like she snaps.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see
has that aggressive nature.
What evil shit she decides to do in retaliation. Because at this point, she's fed up.
The next question is: do you think Jaime is going to kill his sister or try to save her?
What do you think?
I personally think that he's going to kill her. I think that he told Brienne all this stuff, like, I'm actually a terrible person. This is the problem I have. I like to fuck my sister. You know, I got some parent problems. But he says all this terrible stuff out loud, and he kind of gets this face of terror. I think he's going to go down there and kill her. And it's really not far from a point on poetic justice, because Jaime is the Kingslayer. So it wouldn't be really anything, you know, for him to, I guess, go kill another one. And the very last question is: was Jorah right in saying that Tyrion is the correct hand? Was that his correct decision now that Jorah's dead? That's the very last question.
I think Jorah played his cards very well. I think Jorah knew that it was too soon for him to try to grab any sort of power, because at that point Jorah is just like picking up the pieces of what's left. He's trying to put the puzzle back together and have any sort of favor with Daenerys. So I think if Jorah had come right out and said that he should have been hand, I think that would probably, at least in his eyes, put a bad taste in Dany's mouth for him. Like, oh, this guy, he hasn't changed at all. He's he's the same way. He just wants this power. He wants to be close to me. So I think that was Jorah's way of sort of saving face. But as we talked about earlier, I definitely think that Tyrion has been nothing but a yes man, except for two very rare occasions, to Daenerys. This man, who is usually incredibly wise, is clearly terrified of this woman.
Okay, so yeah, he is scared of her.
And he doesn't really give her the advice that she really needs, because even when he tells her what she does need to hear, he tells her in almost a sugar-coated kind of way, because he doesn't want that backlash. Especially since the first time he took a risk, she told him that it was wrong, and that if he did it again, he wouldn't be Hand of the King anymore. So I think Tyrion is very much just whatever you say.
Okay. And it's from fear, and it's kind of that culmination of Daenerys filling her prophecy of look, there are hundreds of years of incest. It's the product of madness when it comes down to that. And that's what her father suffered from, and she's actually kind of getting to the age of where he started to go crazy.
For sure. Yeah, man.
That's it.
Guys, I think that's going to do it for us today. Game of Thrones Season 8, we have, 2 episodes left?
Yeah, 2
and
episodes
then it's
left.
over.
So basically, if we have 1 episode left, because the last episode's going to be the wrap-up.
It's just wrap-up, so all the shit has to hit the fan in this next episode. So make sure you check that out. Oh, excuse me. Make sure you check that out. I'll edit that out. But make sure you check that out. And make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons if you haven't already. ding that little bell. That way you can see the notifications when we upload new content. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm Chase.
I'm Matt.
We'll see you next time.
Damn, dude, this is the longest episode we've done.
Yeah.
We did 30 minutes right there on the season 8.
Oh, man. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, no, that felt very natural. That was really good. Barely had to look at notes.
All right. Oh my god, it didn't come on for a second, and I thought my computer restarted.